Hey guys, this is Nostalgia. This is going to be a little quick channel update. Basically, I've been really busy with my schoolwork lately, and the videos that I'm planning, which are my Tesla and Ubers video as requested, how I killed Ubers the first few times, and my 200 crafted Castrami videos are taking more preparation than I wanted them to, than I intended them to. And I mean, especially the Castrami videos taking a lot of editing, and the Tesla videos taking some preparation, farming keys and so on. So I'll get to those videos. Those are the sort of next videos I'm playing, but I just wanted to post a quick video just to put something up there for now. This is my Magic Find Sorceress, my sort of new setup that's intended to be sort of not glass cannon, but just glass and very high magic find. As you can see, 725 MF, like in the thumbnail. You would have found that out already just by clicking on this video. Um, well, actually, you wouldn't have known it's exactly 725, but there you go. There's the pluggy screen that says 725. The Merc, really just the same thing as any normal Ancient Tunnels Blizzard Sorceress. Insight is a given, ideally a Thresher or Giant Thresher, probably ideally a Fortitude and a Vampire Gaze. I'm using a Prudence on him. This might be the next best thing. It has a lot of magic damage reduction, which is kind of nice for AT, so I'm just kind of using that there because I'm using the Fortitude for one of my other characters' mercs. Getting to the main gear, you can have a double-isted Alibaba here, but ideally you have 180 Magic Find, a six-isted weapon here. Ideally this wouldn't be a Phase Blade. The only reason it's a Phase Blade is because I made it for my Pit Circle originally, although I don't even know if it matters if it's a Phase Blade for the Pit Circle. It actually shouldn't, since your offhand weapon damage, I don't think it's calculated into Berserk. But either way, the idea is a six-isted sword here, and that's really the idea, or some sort of six-isted weapon that's a one-hander in the very least. Not really, ideally a phase blade at all. More ideally like a crystal sword. Okay. Chance guards, war traps, MF. This ring helps me hit the 63 FCR, which is, it's what I'm using on this character. According to a YouTuber, Marik, who's done a ridiculous amount of AT runs, the consensus is with a Blizzard AT Sorc, a Blizzard Ancient Tunnels Magic Finding Sorc, that is. That's the 63 faster cast rate breakpoint is really not any noticeably worse than the 105 FCR. So I'm using caster or cast rate ring here with all res just to get my res up a little bit while getting that FCR that I need, because I just barely hit the 63 breakpoint here because my spirit is only a 33 FCR. I'm using MF ring here. You can put Nagel ring here. Obviously, ideally like a 30 Nagel ring. If you have like a 40 Magic Find blue ring, that's great also. I'm using the three-piece towel because I'm getting some cast rate out of this. I'm getting some resistances. And the main thing is that I'm getting a lot of Magic Find from this. The Ami's also nice because it gives that lightning res, which is nice for Ancient Tunnels, life mana, 2 Sorc skills. Shaco is a given. I really wouldn't use anything else here because this character is intended to stack, as you can see, a ridiculous amount of MF for maximizing my chances of unique and set finding. This character, as you can see, since its damage is so low, you want to ideally play on players 1, even if your damage is high. If you're specifically farming for uniques and sets, it only makes sense to play on players 1 because the boss's item drops don't change by changing the player setting, as in the unique and champion monsters don't. Their drops don't change, as in their drop rates don't change on a higher player setting. The drop chance of the normal monsters changes, so if you're trying to get more runes, then you probably don't want to be stacking this much MF. You probably want to be stacking more damage, as in using like a Hodo or a Death's Fathom here, maybe even an Oculus. You could also use like an Isted Oculus here, but then you're giving up a lot of Magic Find, I think 105 as compared to this one. And the idea here is that on players 1, 5,000 blizzard damage, about 5k blizzard damage, is easily enough to clear out the boss packs very efficiently. And since this build is intended for uniques and sets, farming uniques and sets, that's the idea, is that you're jumping from boss pack to boss pack because that's the most efficient way of farming. uniques and sets, most notably high-level ones, as in Treasure Class 87. Okay, so that's the gear setup. I have a CTA and Spirit, Cold Arms and Spirit on Switch, Sork Torch, Annihilus, 40 Geeds. Obviously, you want a Geeds for this. Since this is a very Magic Find focused build for farm uniques and sets, you want a decent Geeds here. A couple Cold Skillers just to get my damage up to a decent amount. You could probably go without these and be more than fine. You could get, what is it, 7 times 6 is 42. You could get 42 more Magic Find using these slots by having 6 more 7MF Small Charms instead of the Cold Skillers. That's a totally reasonable option also. And the rest of the inventory, as you can see, this isn't ideal because I have some of these are 6s, but ideally the rest of your inventory is just 7MF Charms, and ideally also with resistances, just to make the gameplay a little bit more smooth. Okay, so that's the idea, is to farm uniques and sets quite efficiently with a ridiculous amount of Magic Find on players 1. So let's just take this out for a little bit of a test drive. I'll show off the Sorceress here in a run. And we're probably not going to find another Crown of Ages this time, but you never know. Actually, that would make me kind of angry, to be honest, because I'm up to 4 Crown of Ages now, and I still haven't found a Griffin's, which is a little bit silly at this point, in my opinion. Since Crown of Ages is supposed to be like the exact same rarity as a Griffin's, but regardless, it's like any other Blizzard Sorceress. The gameplay here, you just run through and kind of 1- and 2-shot the bosses and teleport around, jump from boss pack to boss pack. As you can see, I'm not really focusing on the regular mobs here. So that's just kind of how you go about this build for farming high-level uniques and sets efficiently. A little bit of overlap here with my first Ancient Tunnels Blizzard Sorc video, but this is just sort of stacking Magic Find for players 1, not so much rune finding focused version, is kind of the main difference from my first Blizzard Sorc video, if you're wondering about that. Okay, so I hope that's interesting. This is how I'll be farming uniques and sets when I don't really feel like playing on my Pit Circer. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy that. Have a good one.